My name is Lars. I have the incredible privilege of leading the relationships which Oracle Advertising has with our holding company partners. I am as much of a mutt as my name would suggest. I was born in Hawaii. I grew up in the UK, and my heart is truly in a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere in Sweden. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to play a little bit of a game of trying to get to know each other by the choice of superhero power. You might enjoy if you were able to choose one. And I can't actually choose one. I know we prepped this. My initial one is teleportation. I want to wake up and snowboard or rather not snowboard, surf or scuba dive in Hawaii. I want to have drinks with my friends on the rooftop in London, and I want to blink my eyes and go skiing or sit in my lake in Sweden. The other one I would choose is telepathy, but I can be really clear about this one. I only want to hear one person's voice. Because if I could hear my wife's voice 5 minutes before she said, "Why hasn't he taken out the trash?" that would change my world for sure. Let me allow these two to introduce themselves. This is Jill and Leah from General Motors.
Can you guys hear me? Well, I got the loud mic.
No, speak into it. Speak into it. And same with Lars. Same with you.
Same with me.
You're great. Speak loud.
Okay. Hi everybody, I'm Jill DeFalco. I am the manager of the performance marketing team at General Motors, and I support 3 of our most sexy and exciting divisions over at General Motors, which are car parts, car accessories, and our service lane. So what would I do? What would be my superpower? I think it might be shape-shifting. And because today I would love to be an indoor cat sitting somewhere on a cozy blanket on the couch somewhere. So
I have never heard that answer. I mean, I've seen this question a lot. That's a great one. I'm stealing that one next time. That's awesome.
Hello. Those are good ones. Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Leah Bliss. I work with Jill at General Motors on the performance team. I focus on OnStar specifically, so just as fun, not
as sexy.
I think, we did rehearse this, and I'm going to stick with my original one. I like to fly. I think it would be fun to do aerials in the sky and turn around, and it's more just a fun superpower than anything else.
I love that one. I feel like I can see you building your own roller coasters in the sky. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. I feel like we're trying to get to a point where we can answer the question of how do you leverage insights to get to big ideas, but I feel like maybe I'm assuming too much, but the foundation starts with good data, and General Motors feels like you have 15 different brands, 15 different places where you can pick up data. How do you solve the challenge of data in different silos to start with that help you get to insights, which then help you get to the big ideas you have?
Yeah, so we are a massive company, and we have a lot of different divisions, and within each division there's pockets within those. And we had this philosophy for a long time, more is more. We built our foundation on that. The problem is, in a data world where we're trying to measure everything and move forward, we're like, well, where does that data sit? And then can we even look at it? A lot of it is in code right now. What does T5 mean for an audience? No one knows except for the people that built it. So we're actually going through a massive undertaking right now. It's been several years in the making, and this year specifically is a huge year to roll it out. But we're merging all of our MarTech stack and bringing all the different siloed data spaces together, which is huge because we have a lot of different journeys, a lot of different divisions, all with goals, but we're trying to bring it into one tech stack that the team can use. So instead of saying, what is a T5 audience, it will say, oh, this is a consumer that their car is connected and they can sign up for OnStar. I get that. And so the goal is easeability, if that's a word, with the data so that everyone can have access and then democratize it. And that's really our foundation to getting to big ideas. Because our first one was, hey, we're sitting on top of all this data. We should probably go use it better and have everybody sprinting in the right direction.
I'm a big fan of the TV show Bluey for the parents in the room, and the word trifficult came out of that show. So I love it when people come up with their own words. If easeability is a word and it makes sense, let's use that. That's an awesome one. Let's coin that one. Jill, did you have an answer you'd like to share?
Well, I can give a couple of examples of what we're doing now that the data's starting to get centralized, right? So pulling all of this data, like you said, it lived in a million different places across the organization. So centralizing it all in one place has actually helped us connect our media to our offline data and our conversion data, which might seem obvious and everyone should have that, but when you're talking about offline car sales through a dealership, through a third party, or bringing someone into the service lane, it's really hard to connect that back to a dollar that corporate spent. So pulling it all together has really powered our MMM, our marketing mix modeling, our MTA model. It's empowered our internal analysts and data scientists to be able to build audience models like our LTV model, and we're building out some purchase propensity modeling as well. So one of the things that I'm really excited about, where I can see this really kind of come to life in the most beautiful way, is within my world in the service lane, where everything that I know right now is just around the customer and what they've done in terms of their service background, right? How many times have they come in, or have they never come in, and what kind of service have they had done? I have this enormous prospect list, right, that I'm going after. Well, as we start to build out these LTV models, not only can I rank within my own world, but I also can look at Leah's OnStar LTV model and pulling her highest value customers, and look at the car divisions and use those as filters against my prospect file, so I can really start to gain efficiencies with the media, go after the right people, create that loyalty across the full GM brand too. So it's pretty exciting stuff we're working on.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I want to be part of this. I don't want to paraphrase for you, but it sounds like you're getting closer and closer to bringing that data together, starting to understand maybe pathways, journeys for your customers across the different silos we shouldn't understand as your consumers, but you need to navigate and flow. Can you talk a little bit about the insights? Let's get a little bit deeper and talk about the insights that you're starting to see from finding those pathways, not separating yourself out by those silos.
Yeah, so that's been a journey for us because we operate in different teams, different divisions internally. So there's the OnStar team, there's the GMC team, there's the parts and accessories team. All these different divisions have different goals, different things that they're striving towards, and they've all built these customer journeys and elaborate flows and tried to get real personalized with it, doing all the things that we've been talking about all day. But at the end of the day, the customer, when they onboard and buy a new GMC, they're just one customer to us. They bought a car, they have an OnStar package in some capacity, and they could be a loyalty customer for us, and they're going to need their car service. They're just one person. And so by bringing our data together, one of the other things that we're really focused on is this concept of winning with simplicity. What are the new customer journeys we need to go on? When we welcome somebody in with our CRM program, do we hit them up across all the different divisions because we all have our own goals? Or is it one integrated welcome to General Motors email that you get where you can piecemeal through, hey, I got this car with these services, here are additional add-ons. What does that journey look like? And so we're starting to really narrow in on how we rethink everything from our CRM journey and how complex it has been, where we pull back and simplify and bring together all the different lines of businesses. So it's pretty exciting because right now it's a hypothesis, but as our data gets stronger and stronger as we go through this migration, we'll be able to do way more to streamline it, which in turn will help because right now, OnStar sends about 200 plus million emails a year. That's huge. If you're getting hit up by OnStar, then GMC, then our loyalty, then our service, I mean, you're just getting hit in all directions. So it's going to help tremendously to ease that tension with the consumer so they have a better experience with us and we still win when we look at our financials.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Can we get a little deeper? Can we go off script a little bit? I feel like the idea of getting to a big idea, and it's okay if you don't have the big idea now, or maybe it's a hypothesis you're trying to prove. But I feel like, and I've had multiple conversations. Lexi and I were just talking about the siloed nature of data that her and her company, hotel chain, if I believe I got that right, are facing. So it feels like in the audience we might be facing that similar. I have data in a lot of different places. How in the world do I aggregate, understand that, and then come up with a big idea? Can you talk us through either a big idea that you had and you're starting to see come to fruition, or one you're trying to prove now that says, we saw OnStar come together with GMC, or what have you? Can we get a little deeper and give us something, Mary, that you're working on right now, maybe?
Yeah, I think our biggest hypothesis right now is that we have a lot of disparate customer journeys, and we send people down all these different pathways. For example, for OnStar, a lot of the new vehicles come with OnStar included in some capacity. You're not going to have all of OnStar, but you'll have select features. And then from there, we want you to sign up for more features. But the pathway we send you on right now, you can either call the advisor, you can hit a button in your car, or you can come to OnStar.com. Except you can't transact on OnStar.com. We then send you to a whole different site that isn't connected to OnStar.com. And so we have all of these journeys that are partial and broken, trying to link it all together. And our hypothesis is that if we reduce a lot of that friction, it'll be better for the consumer, it'll be better for us internally in terms of managing everything, and we're going to see accelerated growth because we're no longer sending people on this wild goose chase trying to figure out, how do I go across OnStar.com? I'm going in circles and I just want to go over here. So a lot of our data work right now is centered around, we have a lot of data showing drop-off, showing friction, and so now we're doing a lot of movement to say, okay, well, what if we unite the shopping experience online and with OnStar.com? What does that look like? And then what if you bought a GMC and you actually don't even want to go over to OnStar.com? You're thinking, oh, I just have to go back to the GMC site. How do you get your OnStar package there? And so we're trying to change the way the journey is set up to reduce a lot of that friction and meet the consumer where they're going to be. Because we do know that a lot of people just want to easily go online and sign up for additional plans or renew their trials, whatever it might be.
That is a perfect segue, and yes, we did plan this earlier, I apologize. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about exactly what you just talked about. The customer walking through the front door, right? That's the landing page in the digital world. Can you talk to us a little bit about that data capture, the insights you've gleaned from, obviously you've talked through the various different silos, and then maybe a big idea or two, or something, a challenge you're trying to face, as if I don't know what we talked about before. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't have landing pages figured out here. This is a very large and fragmented organization. So like Leah was describing, you've got a team and they build a site or a page, and they've got another team that builds another one, and shortly thereafter we realized they should have been merged. People are trying to move from one to the other, right? So there is a lot of broken pieces, and I think of them as roadblocks, right? So one of the things when it comes to landing pages in my mind is how do we get rid of some of these roadblocks? And the OnStar example is a really good one. Another one last year that we kind of corrected is that we had two separate e-com businesses, right? So we had one for car parts and one for car accessories. I've been around GM for 1.5 years, and I'm still not entirely sure if a wiper blade is a part or an accessory, and customers definitely don't know. And they were run by different teams. They didn't connect to each other. It was really impossible to move from one to the other, right? So they saw this from the customer's point of view instead of their own point of view, right? And so they've built this now unified kind of storefront landing page where they can get from one to the other and to OnStar now. So we're starting to kind of figure out how to merge these things together and think like the customer. Another example too that we're doing with landing pages in terms of like figuring out how to optimize our audiences is we're looking at what a customer does when they go to the landing page. So right now we go out with really broad strokes, especially with the car brand side, where we're, targeting, almost the whole US that's drivable age, right? And they go to the site and they're, clicking around on the site. Some of them might be serious about buying a car. Some of them might just be in kind of research, phase. So we're calling them high value behaviors on the site, right? And so we're kind of ranking what they are and then building customer segments around those high value behaviors and really trying to hyper target on those in the market customers with the bulk of our budget, right? And pulling back on some of those other groups as well. So working on that. I have a third example too I'll throw out there, similar to Leah's. This one's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, maybe even, where we built these beautiful content sites. OnStar is a really beautiful content site. You can go there and learn about everything. It's got great video content. We do the same thing on the parts side. So there is a lot of content about, what parts you need and make sure you're buying genuine, right? And you don't want to knock off and all this reasoning behind it. We drive the bulk of our traffic to that content site right now. So paid search traffic where somebody's clearly looking to, buy something, buy a product. We're like, here, read about it first for a while, and then let's see if you can kind of find your way over to the e-com site. And it's not super easy. We're creating this barrier, and we're seeing a big drop-off, like she's seeing with OnStar. And we're starting to think about that journey backwards. So the people that converted, what did they do to get there, right? And how do we kind of put those in a bucket and send them to the right place versus the people who do really need to, read and learn, they're DIYers, right? Like, let's bring them to the content site. So it's interesting, right? There's politics involved with who built what that we're trying to kind of work through, but that's all sort of in development the next year.
Love it. Thank you both for sharing. I'm convinced that this audience could do a better job of asking you both questions than I could, even with prep time. I do have one more, though, which is a complete curveball, and they don't know this is coming.
Bring it.
Just a really different. I'm confident you'll be fine, but I'll make it an either or to make it slightly easier for you. Either answer question A or question B. Question A would be something you're really proud of since you got there. Something that says, hey, we put that to bed. We solved this challenge, or this was just really good. We had an idea, we did something good. Or question B, what are you most excited by? There's a challenge that brought you both to GM. My gut says you're looking at something a year down the line, 2 years down the line, something like that says, I really want to tackle solving that. And it can be something you've talked about, but let us know where your passions are, basically.
Want me to go first?
You ready?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
All right. I have a few things. One is going to seem crazy. It seemed crazy to me when I went over to GM, but we were running an e-com business without any trackers on the e-com site to see that people, what they bought, what they converted, what the revenue was, which was silly. So getting that up and actually optimizing on revenue, which was just seemed like table stakes, was such a great win for everybody, right? And shortly thereafter, we launched some Google Shopping, right, for our accessories, right, which brought in so much revenue in the first year. I mean, we were leaving so much on the table. So it took a lot of back end work, but I was really proud of that. And I'll say one other thing before Leah. Leah's usually the talker, I'm not, but
you're doing great.
Kicking off MMM, marketing mix modeling, and finally seeing what our media spend is driving. How many, repair orders are we getting into the service lane? What is that revenue? How much, parts are we selling, not only to the consumer, but the B2B side as well? I mean, the numbers we saw come back were phenomenal. Like, we're doing a lot. They never knew. Never knew how profitable and efficient the dollars were really being spent. And so just unlocking that for everyone was just such a huge win.
Congratulations. That's awesome. That's a great story.
So mine is a little bit similar but different. It's the fact when I started at GM, which was fairly recent, it was in June, we've been going through a transformation where we're trying to migrate the data and simplify it and empower everyone to use it, democratize it so everyone has it at their fingertips and can see what's going on and make bolder, faster decisions. And what excites me is that when I first started, all the media plans looked the same. It was, this is how we do it, this is what was done, here we go again. And now we've already, even though we're transitioning our data, we've already unlocked so much in the short time I've been with the company. And there's already a huge shift that I've noticed just on the OnStar team alone, where all of a sudden our media plans are looking very different. And the team is really excited about what can we test, what can we go do, how do we figure this out. And the data for us has unlocked a lot of creativity. Most people are like, oh, here comes measurement, they're going to rein me in with ROAS. But it's actually been reversed because we're looking at what is the incrementality of each effort, and we're using our data to prove, disprove that. And Jill talked about bringing the MMM to life. What's exciting for us is that we then go interrogate the MMM with testing. We say, was it right? Was it wrong? Do we need to edit it? And that shift has been tremendous, and there's more creativity coming to life, which is really exciting to work on, to say, does this work? I don't know, let's go build a hypothesis and go prove it, because now we can get to the data to say yes or no.
I love that. Great story. So let me throw it out to the audience. Do we have any questions for the General Motors team here?
Hi, I hope this question doesn't make you sad, but when you think about all the different messages and places you're sending people, what about the dealer network? So they're spending maybe $250,000 in their own stuff, and then does that just add to the confusion? Is that like the second front in this war? And are you looking at that now, or is that for later?
Sure does. So I don't know if everyone heard, but the question was about the dealers and their media investment, because they're spending a whole boatload. And that is a big thing, is trying to figure out, transparency. What are they doing? What are we doing? We try to do a lot of data sharing with them so that they'll share back, because that is a big unlock. What are they doing? How does our stuff interplay with each other? Because to the consumer, it's still just General Motors.
We have some visibility, into what the dealers are doing, right? They're sharing some of it with us. We're inputting that into our MMM models, but there's definitely a large degree of it that happens that we don't have access to. So we're sort of like tackling corporate and then, trying to layer in about the tier 3, right, the dealership level as we go along.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the MMM is very retroactive. And then tied to the MMM, we're actually trying to roll out MTA as well to get more real-time data. MTA takes a long time to roll out though, so we've been setting it up for a long time. I'm sure others have been on that journey too. But for MMM, because it is so past tense, like it's going to be April and we'll just look at our Q4 results coming up. So what we use it for is the broader guide. We can say, okay, the trend was we have room to improve paid search effectiveness. Let's go make sure right now our CPCs and our conversion rates and what we have for trackable data is trending in the right direction, so that when this new MMM comes out, we've made improvements in the new quarter against what we saw in the last MMM from Q3, Q4. Another thing that we have set up, which has been tremendously helpful for OnStar specifically, is our MMM tool comes with modeling. So week to week, we can go in and put in what was our latest spend and allocation across the channels, and we're using the historical methodology modeling from the last MMM to predict this is what the MMM would tell us right now in current quarter based on the choices we're making. Are we on track or off track to goal? And so that's been tremendously helpful as well. It's just a model number to say what are we doing, but it's very closely in line with what the MMM would actually tell us once we go through the stages of actualizing everything. So we've been pairing both together. What is the in-market data, and what does it say based on what it looked like when the last MMM came out? And then what does the latest modeling tell us with the latest data of spend allocation and what have you?
So I'm using that kind of future, I call it forecast. So we are able to kind of forecast out like last month's revenue prediction. And then what happens is when we finally kind of get that actual quarter rolling in, then we go back and restate. But it's been pretty accurate so far. So they're pulling in all the macroeconomic factors that are happening and things like that, and the spend that you have in that given month. And so we've seen that the forecasting has been pretty tight. Oh, that's a good question. More than 3.
We go back to 2017 is our modeling. We have data from before that, but all of our modeling starts at 2017. But I'd say the core to setting up MMM comes back to the foundation of the data going in. So if you make sure that you have the robust, clean data going in and the right taxonomy in place so you can then read it afterwards, that will enable you to run in any capacity you want to use MMM.
I'm from Oracle, of course. I'm going to agree with taxonomy validity. Yes. Thanks very much for your time in that case. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Brian.